Back into the game. So this video is for women. All women.
Listen up, ladies.
Now, women are the most susceptible to emotional manipulation.
Hey, Andy. Can I call you Andy? You seem like an Andy. Remind me of an Andy. Used to be on YouTube and stuff. Now, as far as women being more susceptible to emotional manipulation, the only thing I could find even suggesting that might be the case was an article from Science Direct explaining that according to studies, men are more likely to engage in emotional manipulation than women, which I posit is exactly what you're doing with this entire video.
The most susceptible to propaganda.
Well, of course, there's an article from Cthuchutrain&Friends that points out that men are more likely than women to receive and spread fake information when it comes to politics, which you're going to keep doing here.
What do I mean by that? Well, the midterms are happening in a few weeks, and millions of women across the country will show up to the polls to vote for one reason and one reason only: the right to an abortion.
And who took that right away? Wasn't the left, was it?
How easy it was to turn an entire generation of women into single-issue voters.
Yeah, it's only about 44% of women who have cited reproductive health as the primary reason for them planning to be more politically active and vote in the 2022 midterms. But go on.
Doesn't matter if our economy's collapsing.
While we certainly do seem headed for a recession, our economic growth rate is still well above the low of January 2020. And who was responsible for that economy?
It doesn't matter that the cost of food and gasoline is bankrupting American families.
It's medical bills. Medical bills is what's bankrupting American families. It's been the number one cause forever.
It doesn't matter that the current administration is instigating a nuclear war with Russia for what seems like no reason at all.
The idea that we should capitulate to Russia as a totalitarian aggressor seeking to annex a free nation simply because they have nuclear arms is frankly ridiculous. Did the United States use nuclear weapons when we lost Vietnam? Did we use nuclear weapons in Korea? Russia is downwind from Ukraine. The use of nuclear weapons is not a smart idea for Putin. So why are you so convinced that he's going to do it? The United States didn't start this war. All we're doing is offering aid to a smaller nation being attacked. Sort of the opposite of what we're doing in Saudi Arabia and several other countries. You don't seem to have a problem with that.
It doesn't matter that the average retirement plan has lost 25% of its value over the past year.
Most of the value lost from 401k is coming from the tech slump, which I'll warn you in advance is going to become even bigger once Musk's house of cards finally comes collapsing down around him, which might happen because of Twitter.
It doesn't matter that women's restrooms have become one of the most dangerous places a woman can be.
1 in 3 women worldwide report experiencing violence in their lifetimes. 60% of all domestic violence occurs in the home. So unless you're talking about the bathrooms they share with their husbands, you're way off base. But I feel like you're just trying to be a little transphobic here.
Doesn't matter that we have an open border that will inevitably cause the collapse of our economy and of Western culture.
Western culture. There it is. That's the key. What's Western culture? Could you define that? Do you mean the culture that specifically happened in the European nations that people like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro like to throw out as the foundation of all that's good and noble in the world? Because that's a complete line of bullshit. Culture didn't start in the West, and it fuck's sake doesn't end there either.
Doesn't matter that your taxes are higher.
The tax brackets actually didn't change at all. What's caused a higher tax burden is inflation. Inflation, which is caused not by labor cost, but by ridiculous corporate profits. Something like 54% of the current spike in inflation is directly traceable to corporate profits, with only about 8% going to labor cost.
Doesn't matter that murder rates are way higher.
Yeah, the murder rate has popped up a little bit, but overall violent crime rate has been dropping since the 90s.
That sexual crime rates are way higher.
Yeah, sadly, that's higher too. Of course, some of that might be the fact that more people are coming forward and feeling comfortable reporting these things than ever before because women are being believed.
Crime of all type across the board is way higher than it's been in a long time. Yep.
Again, no, it's not. Been dropping since the 90s. Hate that for you.
Yep. Nothing else matters to these women except that one single issue: the right to destroy the greatest gift you were ever given. If you're a college-educated woman, there's a 75% chance that you will vote blue no matter who.
Well, that's a neat way of saying that women who have more education are more likely to hold progressive values. That's not surprising. It goes across the genders, actually.
Look how easy it was to turn an entire generation of women into single-issue voters. I'm going to read you a couple sentences from the book 1984. He disliked nearly all women, and especially the young and pretty ones. It was always the women, and above all the young ones, who were the most bigoted adherents of the party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies, and the nosers out of unorthodoxy.
George Orwell was a socialist, and 1984 is not what you think it's about. So, I'm glad you felt the urge to come out of hiding and get on TikTok and spout misogyny and transphobia and just some bullshit right-wing talking points with literally no evidence to back them up. Really sort of made my day. So tell me, Andy, what color is your Bugatti?